All the content contained in this webcast is for informational purposes only. The investments and strategies contained in this webcast may not be suitable for you. Your own independent financial advisor before making any investment or trading decisions. Good morning, traders and investors around the world, and welcome to Friday's Dow 13,000 edition of premarketinfo.com, where we prepare hour of the day, the first hour. Good morning to you, Dennis. S&P's currently up 3 points. Not spending much time on settlement and approaching the high of the move here at 1369.75.
Yeah, another quiet session for us here, Joel. AIG a lot higher, Salesforce.com a lot higher, but really not that much happening.
Okay, moving on to the Big Ten. Exxon Mobil here settled at 87.02, bumping up against a couple highs here, 87.17 and 87 and a quarter. We get through that area. We got the high of the move at 87.94, and also that 52-week high at 88.23. Coming back on the downside, Dennis, unless this thing gets under settlement under $87, you can't really look to hit it.
Yeah, Joel, I think you give some good numbers there. I think if you do get above those highs from the last couple of days, that 87.94 area looms large. $88, you gotta imagine there's going to be some major institutional sellers there. So I'd imagine you'll see some high frequency resistance in the 87.80s and 87.90s if the stock does go into rally mode.
Okay, Apple Computer trading up the pre-market. The ballyhoo over the dividend really didn't turn out to be much. We are currently trading above yesterday's high, which was 517.83. I would use that now as support down to the all-time high close of 516.39. Really on the upside, Dennis, there are some minor resistance numbers, but I think everyone's focusing on that all-time high right now at 526.29.
This stock just keeps marching higher. It's that slow march again. We had that one shakeout day when we made that high of 526.29 and basically sold off 40 points. That was the shakeout. The stock just continues to drift higher. I think it wants to test that 526.29 area. What happens there, it's anybody's guess, but it looks like that's where it's trying to march to, Joel.
Okay, moving on to our next component. I know this one's going to make you sick to your stomach a little bit, Dennis. IBM finally took out that 194.90, and if you blinked, you went through that area, paused for just 1 second, got up to an all-time high of 199.23 before peeling back to settle at 196. Trading up here in the pre-market almost a stick. Look for a test of that 199.23 area. Of course, it's hard to give you numbers above that. A psychological $200 level will probably come into play. Coming back on the downside, I mean, you have a long way to go to the area that it broke out at 194.90. But that's really where the support comes in today.
What an incredible move, Joel. Stock got caught in the tractor beam. We've got that on our site under the education tabs. Talks about the HFT tractor beam. Got caught in there when it got up to about the 194.90 area. Got up to 194.93 and just boom, took out the 195. Caught everyone short, I think. All those high frequency guys, I think, were caught short too. And the stock was immediately at 195.5. Pulled back ever so slightly and just kept running up all day and basically squeezing any of those shorts that were short off that 195 area. So vicious spike through that area. Classic tractor beam catching everyone short on that play. And that's exactly what happened here, Joel. That $200 area is key. I wouldn't be surprised if it does test it today. I don't know if it's going to hold, though. Like, I'm always a big fan of those two-day moves. Wouldn't surprise me if you start to see some strength in this, and if it could roll through that 200, you could almost have another tractor beam at 200 happening.
But you can't see any size up to there.
No,
correct?
I don't see anything up there really, but it's so early, and it's just such a level. You got to think there's going to be some institutional selling pressure in that 200 area. But like I said, it breaks through that 200. The thing could be at 201 or 202 in a matter of minutes. So I don't know. It's pretty scary to short it off that area with the kind of spike that I had yesterday.
Okay, moving on to our next component, Chevron Corporation, Dennis, just kind of muddled along yesterday. Really, when the is Chevron was struggling. Triple top here, Dennis, 108.50 to 108.56 area. Above that, it really opens up to the all-time high. Minor support at the close, 108.35. Kind of opens up to Wednesdays and Thursdays lows after that, but sure, under the current circumstances, sure doesn't look like it's going to trade on 108 under 108. Dennis, how would you play that 108.50 level?
Joel, that's an interesting triple top that you just pointed out. First time I just seen it here on the chart was when you just pointed it out. Well, if it breaks out through that 108.50, the stock you got to think is in a breakout mode. So above 108.50, maybe you play from the long side, but below it, you still got to play from the short side. I know they don't say there's no such thing as a triple top or quadruple top, but in some cases, we've been seeing 5, 6, 7 tops in similar areas in other stocks. So it has been happening lately in other issues. So wouldn't surprise me if it could top out there again today. Obviously, depends on what the market's going to do. We're up a couple of points here on the S&P. Stock closed. The only thing, the stock did close pretty strong at 108.35, just off the high of the day there. So above 108.5, yeah, I think you're right. It might make a break for that 109 area.
Okay, moving on to Mr. Softy. Was soft early in the session yesterday, cut through that double bottom area that we had, 31.15 to 31.18. Got down to 31 even and then bounced hard, Dennis. Couldn't quite get up. Move there at 31.68, stopped at 31.59. To close at 31.37. I guess you just got to keep an eye, Dennis, that 59 to 68 area. That's pretty good resistance. Above there, we're looking for that April 210 high, 2010 high of 32.10. Coming back on the downside, mild support at the close, 31.37. But just a couple stopping points on the way down to that $31 level.
Yeah, the 31 area looks like a pretty good support area now. Whole numbers in Microsoft just always seem to work as resistance and support. I know I'm a big whole number theory I talk about on a lot of different stocks, but on Microsoft it seems especially relevant. Like remember the 30 area and then 31 and 31 low yesterday. So keep those whole numbers in mind. Above 31.68, I think it could end up trying to make a run for 32. Also, I'm always saying keep an eye on Apple. Apple's been slowly drifting up. Microsoft's been slowly drifting up to its 52-week high. So if Apple can get up there and start testing its 52-week high, Microsoft may do the same.
Okay, GE. The only reason it wasn't up more yesterday was because it did go ex-dividend. Just got down to $19 kind of quickly early in the session, but recovered. You have a good resistance at Thursday's high, 1937, closed at 31. Above that 1937 level, 1950, of course, was the high from earlier in the week. That coincides with the July 22nd high in 1953. But after that, Dennis, if it can finally clear that area, we could be looking at $20 today.
Yeah, the stock is still showing some pretty decent strength, obviously going ex-dividend. There's a little weakness in the morning, and they just come in and buy the thing. So 1950 is your key number, worth 19 cents away from here. Well, 17 cents in the pre-market because we're trading at 1933 right now. So I'd still use that area for resistance, but above 1950, then it's going to slowly start to open up until you get to that 1990 area, where you start to see those high-frequency traders probably lean on the 20.
Okay, a once-in-a-lifetime move there in Procter & Gamble yesterday, the beneficiary of some good news, raising guidance, cutting jobs, just the whole shebang. That stock sniffed the lows that it had earlier in the week, and then that news came off, and it was just off to the races with Procter & Gamble. I think really helped the overall market. We are opening into some minor resistance, folks. 66 today's high with a 42 close. Above that, we have a huge level, folks. It's $67. Rock of Gibraltar in December, at the end of December. Sure looks like it's poised to test there, Dennis, and Above 67, your guess is as good as mine.
67 is the key number there, Joel. Watch for those tractor beam setups as we start to approach it. We get into the 6690s, and that could lock into that tractor beam trying to pull up to that 67 area, and then it just depends on how quickly that 67 was to get taken out. But that is the Rock of Gibraltar. It topped out there multiple times back in late December, even in early January. Just tested that area repeatedly, and it held. So that's going to be the big test for Procter & Gamble today if it gets up there. I would play it from the short side until it takes out that 67, but you don't want to miss the 67. You could have like another IBM on your hands where things at 67.5 before you know it.
Yeah, I mean, as far as support goes, I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people, caught short this stock that didn't get a chance to cover yesterday. So I think the bids are going to be thick coming down. I identified 65.75 as major support, and that's just because there was some highs in that area. So it could stop anywhere on the line. But big move for Procter & Gamble. AT&T double bottom in the morning, 30.20 to 30.22. Bounced up, closed right on the high, 30.46 with a 48 high. So we are opening into resistance there. I guess if we can finally clear the 30.50 level, we might go to 30.51 in that stock. But really, no, we get above 30.50. Perhaps this thing can migrate towards the $31 level. Coming back, sure there'll be buyers before that double bottom in the 30.20 to 22 area, but that will be our major support.
Yeah, the 30.50 area is the key resistance area for that stock, and I do have a trading position on an AT&T, so I will limit my comments there.
Okay, J&J, you see it down 33, but it's really up. A stock taking its dividend, going ex-dividend now for, I believe Dennis said, 57 cents. So we will use now the close at 65.10 will be real good resistance. You see that a lot, folks, on days where stock goes ex-dividend. People that are holding the stock, buying it into the dividend, look to scratch the stock. Above that, if it starts to run, we got a bunch of tops at 65.30 to 34, and we'll just play the tape from yesterday as far as support goes. That's still looms large.
Yeah, $66 still huge on this thing if you were to really go into rally mode. But you're right, Joel. Whenever these things go ex-dividend, there's always people trying to take it home for the dividend, trying to wiggle out. So you could see a little bit of selling pressure early on as those ex-dividend players try to wiggle out of the position. Adjusted close is 64.53, so that's the adjusted price for the ex-dividend. So it's trading 64.77, so actually showing a little bit of strength in the pre-market here, being up 24 cents after going ex-dividend, Joel.
Okay, Pfizer wasn't invited to the party yesterday. I believe there was some news out on that stock, some talk about Lipitor competition and whatnot. Went down to 21.02 with the 21.03 close. Looks like someone was just thrown in the towel in the long position there. Still holding 21. This thing has support all the way down, that major support at the 20.80 level. Coming up on the upside. Really nothing up to Thursday's high, 21.38, but this thing just doesn't seem to want to go with the market, Dennis.
Yeah, Joel, Pfizer is that's a key number for it, $21. If it can hold that, the stock, may get a bounce off that area. But weekday yesterday, closing near the lows, never a good sign. So it wouldn't surprise me if the stock broke down. And below 21, then you'd look at these couple of lows that we made here back in late January and early February. I think there's two lows at 20.80 exactly. So I would look to them for some possible initial support. And then below that, then it really starts to open up. But it wasn't a good day for Pfizer. I think rally's got to be sold in the stock.
Okay, S&P's just kind of meandering mid-range here. That high 1368.50, a buck is 1369.50. So we'll be keeping a good eye on that level. 62.25 up to 63. The close, it's good support. We'll see the session. We're going to take a quick break, get our market, and we'll be right back.